Welcome back to She Can, where women lead by example. We interview women from all walks of life and get them to tell their stories because it's easier to be what you can see. And I'm very excited to talk to Louise Doyle today. Louise, welcome to She Can. You're the CEO and co-founder of Needi, a leading corporate gifting service, and you have done an incredible job in the last years to use the power of AI and psychology to match clients with the best gifts for their staff, customers, and more. You and your co-founder, Steph, have raised £1 million in VC funding. So congratulations. And you work with more than 150 B2B clients, including high-profile companies such as Microsoft, Spotify, and Virgin. And you are really dedicated to reducing waste through meaningful, eco-friendly gifts. Tell us a bit more about yourself, your journey, and how you got to start Needi.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you very much for having me today. I really do appreciate that. I suppose a little bit more about where it all began. I actually think it's a question I get asked quite a lot, which is, did you always know that you wanted to be an entrepreneur? And the answer is absolutely not. I had no idea. I was always very hardworking. I was happy to do my exams. I was happy to do well in my jobs and career. So I had no idea that this was what I was going to end up doing. But thinking back now, there are a few moments, I suppose, that kind of got me to starting up my own business. One of them has to be my absolute passion for people and psychology. It's always been in there. I've always loved working out what makes people tick, what makes them happy. And I think some of that probably came from having a little bit of a challenging upbringing, where I lost some people very young in my life. When I was a teenager, I lost my mum and a few other people in quick succession. And I think going through experiences like that quite young make you realize how much you want to appreciate people and show that you care. So I kind of went through school. I went to go and start university, but had to look after my mum for a bit. And then I ended up traveling the world and doing all sorts of different experiences. So growing up, I kind of went all over the place until I finally came back and ended up in sales. Now, I ended up in sales and recruitment because that I thought was the quickest way that I'd be able to earn money, be secure, and help support my family. Quickly realized in recruitment that my love of people was challenged because you're having to sell people into jobs on a daily basis. And it came, I think at one stage I was about 150 temporary workers, all coming up with different excuses as to why they couldn't go to work on different days. But it taught me everything that I needed to know about people, about how to manage teams, about where they were going. I went from there into what I would say was my absolute dream job. I worked for a group of travel companies that was a social enterprise. My job was to take teenagers out to Africa, Asia, South America, go trekking in the jungle, build schools in Africa. And it was such a fulfilling role. Now, this is where the catalyst came, I think, from Needi. There were two things. One, we had a global remote workforce that we had to motivate on a shoestring budget. So myself and my now co-founder, Steph, who I worked with there, we used to spend hours searching Etsy, Amazon, not on the high street, all these things to find little gifts that would just arrive with a note from us to motivate them. They didn't bloom and arrive on time. It was very hard to find. And like I say, we were spending a lot of our own time and money doing this. However, when we did do it and we got it right, we could see the impact it had on them. It made them feel, seen, heard, connected. It shows that we really knew who they were. And it just embedded a little idea into us that we might have a business idea from that. And then the final thing is that I really do mean it when I say it was my dream job. I worked really hard and I got up to be the first and the youngest ever female sales director and for the group of travel companies. And I would have stayed there forever if I also had felt seen, connected, and heard. So I think the combination of those two things was that passion and the drive that set me and Steph to start Needi, which is a corporate gifting service that literally helps people connect with their staff and their clients.
Louise, it's so Interesting. Tell us a little bit more. So you set up Needi with your partner Steph, and did you have success immediately? Tell us a tiny little bit about that startup phase, which I think is a phase that many women find challenging because you work an enormous amount. Often you don't see a return immediately. How was it for you?
Wow, it was talk about like diving headfirst into a frying pan is what it felt like. We literally found ourselves initially, we couldn't take a salary. We were founding a tech company with no tech experience.
Mm.
And although both of us had led and successfully scaled teams and revenue for a company, we hadn't started our own business before. So the first thing that we did was we joined an accelerator program. We did the Founder Institute one, Silicon Valley back tech accelerator. And it was like doing Dragon's Den, SAS boot camp, and like 10 other intense things at once. We were exhausted, but we graduated as the top company. And I think that comes down to our pure resilience because we were one of the only non technical founders there.
Mm.
So we did the accelerator. That gave us a roadmap for what we needed to do. We then, even though we wanted to be perfectionists and wait until we had the perfect, website, the perfect app, we didn't. We just launched a very, very basic one very quickly. And we just did everything manually. All of our gift matching from Steph's mum's summer house, basically. She was literally sitting in her garden doing all the gift matches. And we just put one foot in front of the other until we suddenly realized that people really wanted what we were doing. And then suddenly we found that product market fit that everybody talks about. And that's what gave us the motivation to then start on our investment journey to start scaling and recruiting quickly.
Louise, and so you were bootstrapping this at the beginning. You have
Yes.
raised VC funding since then, and we're going to talk about that later. But tell us a little bit about how your process works. So if a company or a woman in a company is listening, how do your partnerships work with your clients?
Amazing. So we are a concierge service is the best way I can describe it. So the minute that you know in your company that you want to get anything from new starter gifts, for example, for all your new staff that start, or maybe it's just you want to celebrate and do more well-being gifts and things and events with them, or perhaps you need 20,000 branded merchandise things to arrive in time for an event. So anything that involves products or gifting that can be personalized in any way, you come straight to us. You tell us how you feel about what you want to get, how you want the person that receives that merchandise or that gift to feel. And we have some psychology based questions, basically, that we go through that allow us to find that perfect match for you. We will then find local independent businesses that are truly unique and have amazing products that you wouldn't find elsewhere. And we basically match them with your order. So for those, it might have been something basic that we ended up with, like some branded, clothes or merchandise or something. But we find the perfect quality and type that matches your brand and your budget. And we deliver all the rest working with those local independent businesses.
Louise, that's something else that's amazing about your business. You really generate business and therefore revenue for independent, smaller businesses, which I love. And you also do it efficiently. You personalize, you're innovative, and you just give your clients a feel-good experience, which is why you're so successful. So tell us a tiny little bit more about these lessons that you've learned since you're an entrepreneur. What do you feel are sort of the top lessons that really you would like to pass on to others?
Think one of the biggest ones for both Steph and I have been really trusting our own gut and our own experience a little bit more. Now, at the beginning, we took advice from so many people, and I really, really encourage you to take advice from people, but pick them. Be strategic. Don't do what Steph and I did, which was sort of take advice from everybody to the point that it was almost debilitating. We were almost unable to make a decision because we had so many conflicting opinions. However, when we whittled it down to people that we believe truly understood our business and could help with us, and coupled that with actually trusting our own instincts and guts on some of these business decisions, that's when the business started growing. So I suppose, yeah, my biggest advice is to think carefully, go out, ask for advice, be vulnerable when you ask for it, but equally be very picky about where you get that advice from and where you spend your time as well.
So, Louise, tell us where your business is at now. You have raised £1 million in VC funding. How are you using that money? How are you growing? And then we're going to get some top tips from you for entrepreneurs who have difficulty or at the beginning of their journey need to fundraise and don't quite know how to do it.
Amazing. So yes, still pinching ourselves about that. We come through the other end of that fundraise, I think, that investment round. So since then, my gosh, we have scaled quickly. We've gone from a team of 6 to a team of 13. We
Wow.
are dealing with, I mean, we had some fantastic Christmas orders in. Some of them were as big as, £500,000 orders of gifts that had to go out immediately all over the world. So we have had to really scale our operations very, very quickly because we know the demand is there, and that fundraise has allowed us to do it. This year, we are on track to generate £5 million for local independent businesses through our business.
Amazing.
And in the next few years, we are looking to get to 50 million. So that's where we're at.
Louise, I love it. I love that you have a big vision. Now, tell us how you got the £1 million in VC funding. How did you go about that?
I went about it the long way for sure. And we jumped into it probably a little bit naively. I'm going to be honest about that. And I think that naivety really helped because I think if we'd known everything that was kind of coming our way, it might have been trickier. So I think in total, it's taken us to get the full amount. It's probably taken us over probably a couple of years in total,
Okay.
and we've done it in stages. Initially, we were told to do a friends and family round, but we don't have friends or family that could give us, that money. So we ended up doing a lot of networking, a lot of presenting, a lot of reaching out to different people and getting introductions. And it only really started coming together, really, I would say 6 months in, when we've been updating these people for 6 months, saying, hey, this is what we've done this month. This month we've got this many sales in. Look, we've got a new client on board. And I think after about 6 months of doing some really nice, positive updates to people, we started getting a bit more interest then. So we started off, and then we initially got, I think it was about £140,000 in angel investment. Some of those angels that invested, the money they put in was obviously fantastic and helped us to grow. But my gosh, their experience, their expertise, being able to soundboard, that has been worth so much more to us, even than the money they initially put in. They've been wonderful. We then did our next round, which, as you know, involved the VCs. We knew that we wanted to go down that route because I think when we came out the accelerator, we wanted to grow the company big quite quickly. We knew what we were capable of doing. And we thought that our own standards of growth are so high that actually that thing that everyone worries about, like, oh, having a VC back you, is that going to put too much pressure on you? Is it scary? No, Steph and I put that on ourselves 1,000 times over, So to us, this was like a mechanism to get us to where we wanted to be quicker. I was so lucky. Again, it probably took over a year of actually meeting from when I first met with him and was introduced. This time it was actually via the NatWest and Ulster Bank accelerator. So we joined another accelerator because
Amazing.
they have great opportunities to meet people and to get those introductions. And basically, yeah, it took a year again of us updating them, just like we did with the angels. We said we're going to grow like this. We said we were going to do this. This is what we've done so far. And it actually got to the stage I was pregnant with twins. And I got to the stage, I think, when I was doing all these Zoom calls, luckily from sort of here upwards, thinking, I really need to close this round in the next 2 months. Otherwise, this could be really difficult. And actually, one of my first ever VC investors, crazily enough, she had twins herself as well. And it was so nice to be able to be honest with her and to talk about it. And so, my gosh, I think that's how we got through it, from being completely honest through being really clear about where we wanted to go and proving to these VCs that we had the ability to kind of deliver on all the things that we promised.
So, Louise, what would your top tips be? Now, you really have shown a track record. You showed how much you grew month on month. I think that's always a really good tip, try and generate some revenue and show that you're growing month on month, and that generates interest. What other top tips would you have?
I think a few things really. One would be learn how to tell your story well.
Mm.
I think we were so reactive to everything all the time that initially it was very hard to communicate what we did in the right way. We actually found that one of the best ways of communicating for us was instead of just sending your normal pitch deck that you do with your slides of, all the VCs, all the investors have seen a million times before, we actually recorded a little video in the corner explaining the pitch deck. So as they were going through it, they could actually have us explain the slides as if we were presenting. So tell your story really well and build trust instantly, I would say. Like, don't, is you just said, of course, the importance of showing your growth, but share your challenges, share the things where you really made a big cock up, for want of a better word, and show how you then dealt with that afterwards. We did that. We lost that client, but you know what? We're never going to lose another client like that again because I put this in place.
Mm.
So be transparent and real. And then the third one that's so important is actually the other way around. Do your own due diligence on your investors. I was burnt very badly in the beginning. We nearly went under as a result of investors that didn't have the money in their account when they said they did. And then, therefore, the ones that have invested in us, I actually interviewed other people that have been invested in by them. And the stories were absolutely glowing. And I knew that these were the ones that I wanted to be with.
I love these tips, Louise. Thank you so much. I think they're really incredible tips. So, what do you feel are your biggest challenges right now? You're
Ooh.
really in a growth phase, you're in a scaling phase, you have very big visions, you want to get to 50 million quickly. What do you feel are the things that you really need to work on, or, that are challenges that you need to overcome and fix in terms of scaling?
I think right now for us, it's about getting the systems and processes in place. We are so focused on getting the right people into our company, and we have a very unique recruitment process. We recruit 90% on personality and that person, and we believe that you can teach skills. So we're all about getting the right people into the job because we're like, we will find a way to make that work. And it has served us so well because we have an amazing team of people that we absolutely love going to work with. But getting those processes and those systems in place that make everything easy and that allow, especially when you've got a fully remote team, many of us have got young families and are balancing all sorts of things. Getting those processes in place to allow everybody to very easily achieve what they need to do in a flexible way, I think is the core to scaling quickly.
Louise, thank you for that. And what do you feel, what type of a leader are you? How do you lead? What do you feel is important for you as a leader?
I think I'm really, really passionate about leading with empathy and flexibility for individuals. Everybody that joins, not just our company, but any company, is an individual. And you know what? A benefit that suits one person or ours or whatever that suits, they do not suit everybody. So we are very individual when we come to making the roles and the things that go with them. I think that also I can be pretty firm about it as well, because I think when you offer that level of flexibility and to follow through on the trust that you give them. So I will say, great, yeah, you can pick your kids up from school, you can work from anywhere you like, you can do those things, but these absolute KPIs need to be met, and we need to have the trust there for you to do it. So I suppose kind and firm with flexibility.
What would you say are you most proud of, Louise?
I would say right now, nearly £2 million for those local independent businesses. And I've met so many of those business owners. We have so many women, we have loads of minority owned businesses, we have businesses that don't even have a website. And we have managed to pair them up with, the likes of whether it's Microsoft or whether it's Spotify or Intuit QuickBooks, or these big companies and huge orders that they would never have had access to. And the impact of that on their business, they can employ more staff, they can grow their business, they can get that family balance they wanted. I think that so far is something that I get a real kick out of.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's an amazing thing to achieve. Louise, and tell us very quickly, you're a mom of twins. You've had twins while you were running this company and raising funds. We have so many moms who run businesses. What do you feel? How do you create a balance in your life?
Really good question. It is a work in progress. I don't think that I could ever, or anybody would ever say that you've nailed it.
No.
I can't even call it a balance. I think it's a seesaw. I think like there's always that feeling that you kind of like you're down on one side and the other side is up and vice versa. But my biggest thing is that I am fully present in whatever I'm doing. And that's something I have to constantly remind myself to do. So, do you know what? When I'm with my kids, that's it. Everybody knows that's that time. I've got it blocked out. That's the time that I'm spending with them. Equally, when I'm at work, I'm completely focused and I'm getting things done. I've explained to the team about the hours that I work. Sometimes for me, it works really well catching up on emails as I'm rocking one of the babies to sleep. And sometimes, I need that 3 till 5 off in the middle of the day because I need to spend time with them. As long as you communicate that with the people that you're working with effectively, it can work really well. Your only is when people don't know what to expect or when to hear from you.
Yeah. Louise, so tell us a bit more about your plans and goals and your big vision.
Well, okay, so yeah, this year this is our 5 million for the local independent businesses. That's what we're doing this year. We are currently in the process of developing our algorithm that matches the perfect gift to the recipient. Currently, we're mostly human-powered gift matches at the moment, and we're going to bring the tech in to really kind of grow and scale that. We're also building some really bespoke platforms so that our clients are able to integrate into every part of their business really seamlessly, so that every single product and gift that they pick, it meets their sustainability goals. It's really, really personal and it's so easy for everyone to use. And then in the course of the next couple of years, we're going to be expanding globally. So quite a bit.
Louise, I'm so proud of you for this big vision. What would you like our listeners to take away from your story?
I think my biggest lessons has been it doesn't matter where you come from financially. You don't have to have the money behind you. It doesn't matter about your education. My highest education is A levels. It doesn't matter about where you've started. If you have the passion, and you have to really, that's really important. You have to really believe in what you do. It's too hard to do something you're half-hearted about. You have to be fully passionate about what you're doing. You have to be driven and resilient. So you need to work on that outer shell of yours. And then equally surround yourself with people that are going to keep you going. If you've got, whether that is a partner, your friends, a business partner, whether it's anybody, make sure you build those little sticks around you that will kind of keep you in the middle there, keeping yourself strong as you go through. And if you do that, anything is possible.
Louise, and how do you divide the responsibilities between yourself and Steph? So you have a co-founder. I always think that is a lovely thing to have, is someone to bounce ideas off. How do you divide your responsibilities?
Really intuitively is the best way I could question. Steph and I have met for over 12 years in total now. So it's got to the stage when we really just have a feel for how we do it. I had predominantly do the business management side of things. So I do the investment, I do sort of some of the top level business strategy, the finance, the legal side, and that bit. And Steph is incredible at leading our sales team. She's the one that keeps all of those sales coming in the whole time, no matter what else is happening in the company. And equally, she's involved in the top level strategy too. But yeah, it's really intuitive. we don't just support each other either. We literally, either of us make a mistake, we will call the other one immediately, be like, oh my gosh, this is what's happened. How do we come out of it? We hide nothing and we scrape each other off the floor when we need to.
Louise, I'm so grateful for you to take the time to tell your story, to be a real mentor and role model for so many out there. I'm so excited to have you. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Stephanie.